Xing is in the captain slot, immediately removing Blitzcrank. They do not want Jayce running around with those rock grabs and those power fists, and it's a difficult support to deal with in that bottom lane.
Yeah, and immediately straight off the back of that, the Sjömän banning out Xin'Zhao. He's a champion that we mentioned before, we mentioned yesterday. We hadn't really seen him so much in competitive play for a long, long time. Then over about the last month, a lot of people have started to pick him up, play him in more tournament games left and right. And now he's got to the point in this tournament where we'd seen him in, I don't think it was quite every game, but it was in a lot of them. And every time he was in, he'd make a big impact. Now he's at the point where Sjömän decided, you know what, we don't have any strats to use him. We don't want to use him from purple side. We don't want to come up against him. We'll just ban him straight out. He's got to the point where he's as strong as Citizen Wayne's Karthus and deserves that ban spot.
Well, this is something else that I was considering or thinking about. Amazing, we seen him earlier in the week playing Nunu, and he played a phenomenal jungle Nunu. So I wonder if we're going to see the Sjömän actually deciding to remove that champion from the game. They got one ban left. We've already seen sort of a jungler / top lane being picked out, and it's actually going to be Irelia. So a lot of options open now. You know, Shen is out of the game, but Ezreal is, and once again, retaining that 100% ratio. He has been picked or banned in every single game of Dreamhack Winter thus far.
It's not a bad first pick to go with either. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, it's just another Ezreal. Yes, it's an AD carry. You could counter an AD carry, but that's why he's been picked and banned in so many of these games. It's very hard to do. That arcane shift just gives him so much safety, and then with the different build paths he can go, he's got so many different options towards the game, and all of those build paths make him very, very safe. He's got good long range, he's got great damage output over the course of it, and he can get around the map very quickly. He can be very slippery in these team fights. Doesn't need too much protection as far as the rest of your squad goes, and it opens up your comp and your champion picks to be a little bit more free roam, a little bit more freestyle, and they can do a little bit of damage themselves rather than there just to look after and babysit that AD carry.
On the flip side, Zyra, we've seen it banned out, we've seen it picked a couple of times, once again going to be locked in. We have seen an AP Zyra picking around that last night, if I recall correctly, in the middle lane. Now, we may see potentially that again, but realistically, it's probably going to be support Zyra along with Corki down in that bottom line. Get those grasping roots out, land as many ticks of that Gatling cannon as possible, followed up with phosphorus bombs, and it's a really good low-level, you know, poke and damage composition. Ezreal can work with a lot of supports. He benefits and he can have synergies with many of the mainstream supports, but we've seen a lot of Lulu today. So this could be support Nunu. I'm expecting it to be in the jungle with Amazing, and we'll see who they're going to put down as a support player. I believe it was Aimee that was playing it yesterday.
I believe it was yes. Probably, yes.
So we'll see who he wants to lock in to play with Ezreal in this bottom lane for Team Acer.
Simply by the way they're picking these. If that is looked in by Lume, that tells me it's jungle, because Amazing is picking the AD carry, Lume picking the jungler. You immediately swap those two, job done. That's it. Obviously, they can go a little bit more complicated if they want to three-way swap it left and right, but that's just simple and smooth, and it's quick and easy there, and it's a fairly common thing that players like to do.
And Jayce being locked in. So top lane has already been secured. We know exactly who's going to be there. I sense a troll right now. I don't think this Heimer is going to be.
I think that would be a brilliant mid lane.
It would be cool. It would be awesome if it gets locked in, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. I must admit, though, if you put the turrets down, and you get somebody in Grasping Roots and the Strangle Thorns, it's a lot of time for those turrets to put DPS down. If you put
I just want to say, sorry, it's Heimerdinger, by the way. They can't see it on the stream. We've
right.
To mention the
so,
name of the champion.
Heimerdinger was just selected for those of you that are looking at our photos instead of the picks and bans. But yeah, Heimerdinger being hovered over by Kestrel right now. 15 seconds left on the clock, hasn't swapped it out. Finally, with 10 seconds to go, does change it to a Katarina. And we've got a potential of a Katarina and Malphite being locked in for the 7C6 Sjömän, as it were. So there's a great initiation composition so far. Corki, Zyra, Katarina, and Malphite. Over on the flip side of the team, Team Acer have 2 champions left to lock in to complement Ezreal, Jayce, and Nunu. And we're seeing who they decide to put as either their support and mid lane, or potentially support and jungler. You know, there's a number of options that they can play with here.
I really like the possibilities you have here with the C6 Sjömän lineup. You're going to have Malphite ulting in with the Unstoppable Force for the initiate, knocking everybody up. Then, while they're still in the air, you're going to have Jayce in the support, or, well, not now the Katarina's pick. Jayce's going to be popping down his ult and popping down the Strangle Thorns. That channel time's going to go through while they're still in the air. They're going to land, they're going to get knocked straight back up in the air again. While that's all happening, you've got Katarina jumping about from left to right all over the fight, using her Shimpo, using her Bouncing Blazer, Sinister Steel, and then just sitting in the middle of everyone that's still floating around in the midair, firing off our ultimate, doing so much damage to everyone that can't stop it because they're all CC'd. If you can get that perfect combo off with Corki constantly firing down damage the whole time as well, you're going to be very squishy, if not completely dead, before you even land that second time round.
The thing that's scary about that particular champion as well, if you look at the rest of them, if Gragas decides to go for that full AP build, you know, maxing death cap first or something like that, he's very, very squishy. He can get blown up easily, as can Jayce, as can Ezreal. There's not a lot of tankability and survivability in that composition. So the moment Katarina gets a good team fight, she's going to get her Abyssal Scepter, going to get, you know, work towards a Hextech or a Rylai's or whatever big item she wants to decide to go for, and just start immediately melting people's faces. Over on the other side, this initiation, we've already talked about the CC and the control. They've now added Olaf as well. So that's going to mitigate and counteract, you know, the Ice Blast slow, all the CC that Leona is going to be putting down, etc. And it's a good lock-in.
Citizen Wayne has got his Gragas. CLGU banned the Gragas against Acer. This is why. Citizen Wayne has a phenomenal Gragas play. Now we're going to see it. We saw his Karthus, as you mentioned yesterday. Now we're going to see the Gragas. We'll see what Sebastian can do up against it in the mid lane. And if that sticks, we'll comment on in a minute, but in 10 seconds we'll have a better overview of it. He's currently hovering over the fact he's got an exhaust on Katarina.
Now that would make a bit of sense. Ezreal, you know, Ezreal, Gragas, and Jayce can all be negated by that exhaust. If you can get close enough to Gragas, dive onto him with Shimpo, exhaust him immediately, the explosive cast and the explosive barrel are going to deal significantly less damage to you, even if you get displaced. You know, flashing, get caught by it, or something similar. You can use other abilities to stay in range and get closer. So I like the selection. I also like the idea as well, if Jayce or Ezreal start get to a point where they're very strong and powerful, you can just mitigate them for that period, that couple of seconds. Allow Malphite and Olaf to stick to them, jump on them, and carry on chasing. We've seen Olaf in the jungle again. We've seen Olaf a number of times today, mostly favoring in the lane, though. Most of the time we've seen him in the lane once, I think, in the jungle.
Yeah, Cotnex ran him in the jungle.
And we're seeing him again, same players, same champion, things like that. So we'll see how this one maxes out. Pentakill Olaf once again in the skin war. Iron Solaria, Leona. I think if we've got to give the skin war away, it has to go to the local boys.
I love the teleport on Malphite. It's the first time we've seen a top laner running a teleport in this tournament. He's not against a Shen, he's not against anything else quite teleporty or map roaming like that. He's just against that Jayce. Jayce isn't going to have too much of an issue going from one end of the fight to the other. Of course, he's got the acceleration gate, he's got the movement speed buff from swapping in and out of his different hammer form and cannon form. So he can get around the map fairly rapidly. Still not quite as fast as the teleport, of course. Malphite this way is going to be able to sit in that top lane, just farm and farm and farm. And should they want to go for a fight, a dragon or a dive under a turret or whatever that it may be later in the game, they can literally just put a ward down, teleport in straight to it, and before they know what's happening, he could have come straight out of a bush or from behind a wall, depending on where the ward's placed. Unstoppable force, Malphite out of nowhere initiates a fight before Jayce has even left his lane.
Yeah, so true. The possibilities are there. Whether or not there's somewhat of a mixed team will be able to pull off that level of coordination, that's what determines, we'll see whether it can actually be pulled off. Because it takes a lot of thinking, a lot of planning. You need to have a strong caller in place to make that happen. So we'll see how this plays out. We do have a momentary pause as we have jumped into this game. There has been another little technical issue, probably something to do with the headphones again. So we're sorting this matter out. In the interim, I have tidied up our scoreboard and make sure everybody is matching off against one another. But in this middle lane, Gragas against Katarina, again, it's a lane that can go either way. It's a lane that can snowball heavily in either champion's favor. But of course, in terms of sustain, in terms of survivability in the lane, Gragas is a little bit better in that regard. His passive going to give him some additional HP. If he starts to drink some of his own brew, he can get some mana back, which also plays into his favor. And, any of these low-level engagements, Gragas should be able to win because of his superior attack damage with the use of, one or two of his abilities. If Katarina can keep using those bouncing blades at range, poke him down low, then could set up for a kill. But it's a much slower process in that regard in these low levels.
Yeah, so we have got that unpause finished and sorted. We will be underway momentarily as 7C6 Seamen are in this banana bush as part of Acer's jungle. Acer know they're there. The pings went down. They have had that vision. They get one quick drumstick thrown out across Amazing's face as he starts to make his way in towards that mid lane for a little bit of safety. But they're just going to make their way to that blue plant ward, leave it at that, safely back on out of there, head up towards their respective lanes again and back towards Cotnex's own jungle.
And this is something very reminiscent of what we see from Fnatic a lot of times when they move in towards the enemy blue buff. It's a little earlier than what we usually see out of them, and they do tend to hang around a slightly different bush. But, time and time again, in almost every matchup we've seen in the tournament thus far, there have been early wards and then late invades. We have not seen a very early, very aggressive invade from any team. You know, I suppose when you're in the group stages, you don't want to make mistakes. You don't want to give away more than you need to. If you've got a best of 3 to fall back on, you can afford to go deeper into the jungle in, you know, the first game of the series because you know that there are 2 more. This time around, though, just a number of pings and all 5 members are hanging around. And there's this late invader we're talking about. They walk straight over a ward, though. So it's clearly apparent to Team Acer what is going on. And on the flip side, there is no opposition vision, so they don't actually know that their blue buff is being stolen. Jayce opting to use his teleports.
Yeah, he's going to use his teleport. They're going to lane swip it. So Malphite is going to go down towards this bottom lane and deal with Imai and Lumi, who have picked up that blue buff onto Leona. Now that seems to be a bit of a mistake, if you ask me. Now, she is going to hit level 2 soon. She is going to get that aggression. She's going to be able to get on Malphite quickly, but she doesn't really need the mana. Ezreal would have done better with it, being able to poke Mystic shots under turret, keep the harassment up, get his arcane shift down nice and quick, gets the safe away from that turret once he's got Malphite pressured. Now, it's going to go a little bit to waste here on Imai. He has hit level 2 now, but yeah, Malphite's just going to stay back very safe, waits the lane to come to him under turret, and it's not going to make any difference to where they get close to him. So we'll wait, we'll see whether that actually gets put to use. He does land Zenith Blade in a quick stun. Ezreal comes forward with the arcane shift for a little bit of damage, takes Jayce to about half health. But we'll just take a health potion, get back up to full soon, and start CSing once the minions arrive. In return, top lane, Kestrel and Jayce have already reached the turret with their wave of creeps and started to get some damage down onto that. Not worrying about taking the extra CS, just auto-attacking down onto that turret. And then quick bit of poke onto Shabs as well.
Down in the bottom lane, though, amazing. He's level 2. He has red buff in hand. And seeing which abilities he has leveled thus far. 1 point into Consume, 1 point into Ice Blast. He does not have Blood Boil just yet. I don't know if they're going to consider this very low-level tower dive. If they pull it off, it will be great. But we're going to see whether or not this works out. There is no Blood Boil available. And you can see that Malphite is immediately backing off. He realizes that something's up. He realizes he's in a little bit of trouble and immediately starts to put some distance between himself and the tower. But this is just going to stunt his growth even further. Experience is going to be lower. He's not going to get the gold. He's not going to get the farm. 5 CS to 2 at the moment. Jayce on the top lane, he's receiving equal if not more punishment. The long range of those grasping roots causing all sorts of hassle, especially with those little slowing vines being put down.
We do now see Cosmetics coming out from behind the turret. The exhaust goes down on the bottom turret, dies. Shabs trying to leap in onto Jayce. He has got the ignite taken down and the turret shots are going up. He might just have survived it. Last tick of ignite will wear off. Jayce does recoiling in the bush. He does make it out with first blood for his
Now
team.
in the middle lane, Citizen Wayne and Sebastian are going head to toe. Exhaust is out, Ignite is ticking. They're both trading Shunpo. One more auto attack. Who's going to pick it up? Katarina gets it. Will she die to the Ignite and the creep? She does! Gragas gets the counter kill with the use of Ignite and a huge creep wave in his favor. So 1 to 2. This game is already going dramatic, but both sides picking up kills, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And the first tower down at 4.5 minutes.
Both towers picking up turrets too. Top and bottom turrets are down, but all in all, minions OP, quite clearly. Katarina destroyed. So we'll see. There is 8 to 7 CS as far as our lane swap opponents have go. There is 1 turret to 1. The gold count is 700 in favor of the 7 C6 team because of that first blood gold they managed to pick up and share amongst their squad. Kestrel does get scared out of that top lane, forced to Valkyrie away by Imai. Nothing too serious, he was going to base anyway. 24 CS to 26 CS as far as the AD carries are concerned. Nothing too serious across those. But interesting enough, the mid lane builders. Quick spell penetration boots there for Katarina. She's going to be able to move around the map now, be very nippy, have that tier 2 boost, have that movement speed. Gragas opting for a little bit more lane stability. 2 Dorans, so some more mana regen, a little bit more health so he can't get burst down quite so quickly. But not so much maneuverability. He's still only got the tier 1 boots. So we'll see whether Katarina starts roaming quickly. Rashid just uses that to dart in there, harass Gragas, and then run back to her turret safely.
In the bottom lane, Shabs almost finds some trouble. He level 4 Cotton Eggs. They're about to face check and walk into each other. Shabs is going to say, hey, what's up, man? Get out of my jungle. Or at least move out of the way I want to farm here. In the middle lane, some back and forth poke. Sebastian now may find himself in trouble. Body slam lands. He is just going to Shunpo to the ward and get away to safety. But, that kill in the middle lane, Sebastian was a little hesitant to put that exhaust down. He only used it right near the very, very end of the battle. The full body slam damage had already landed, as did an explosive barrel. So, it was aggression from Citizen Wayne trying to cast Sebastian out, and he was able to just counteract it. In the bottom lane, Zenith Blade goes down. Shield of Daybreak, unfortunately, doesn't apply the stun. So with that Valkyrie away to safety, they mitigate any potential damage there from the gank with Nunu.
Nah, amazing that he's going to find Cotnex in the jungle. He's going to take a reckless swing to the head for a lot of bit of damage. Amazing goes straight across into the backside in the Baron pen. or flash to safety rather than coming down towards the mid lane where Katarina was coming across to try and find him. So flash down on Amazing means he's got to be a little bit more defensive now. Considering how aggressive he's been playing already on the invade, that's a bit of a back foot. But on the top side, we do see Kestrel Valkyrie in towards Lume. The Ignite's been ticking, he uses the summon heal, but the Ignite doesn't get a lot of the damage. And one last auto attack, he picks up the kill. Ironmine's not out of the water yet, though. He does dodge the snare, but the slow is going to come down from Kotnik. Can he flash over the wall? The stun's gone down onto Cotton. There's another axe, but it's going to miss because of a quick flash. There's the follow-up from Kotnik, so he's going to keep chasing. The Eclipse will go out. One last reckless swing. Kotnik picks up another kill to take them 4-1 and gives them a 2,000 gold lead.
7C6 Sjömän, they're on the roll. 4-1 up right now. Remember, the winner of this game will be playing against Fnatic in the semi-final later today. The crowd is starting to fill up, and can we get a cheer for the League of Legends tournament? That's what I like to hear, and I hope it gets even louder as we start to get to the playoff bracket. JWoww and Sebastian now applying pressure on this bottom lane. He's floating around, he's got those Sork shoes, 49 CS, he's out farming Gragas as well. And doing very well in that middle lane, in fact. He was keeping an eye on it just before the top lane pressure happened, and the poke damage that he's getting down with, you know, the bouncing blades as well as Sinister Steel and Shinpo, it's really making life difficult for Citizen Wayne and the beer-guzzling fat man in the mid lane.
We do see the C6 Sjömän making their way down towards this river. They grab the blue buff on Cottonex on their way with no vision on the dragon at all for Acer. They might be able to sneak this out pretty quickly if they're careful. We do see it get pulled immediately by Zyra. Kestrel's down there as well for damage. Cottonex has got his blue and they're going to start the dragon. There's no movement at all from Acer to try and get towards it, so it does reset. A little bit of misfortune, but still no movement at all from Acer. And it looks like this is going to go completely free to the C6 Sjömän.
There's absolutely no vision there for Team Acer, so they've got no idea that this is going on. Gragas finally starts to sniff that something up. He's going to get in range. If he had some vision just a second earlier, that would have been a dead Cottonex. But something that we need to point out that we haven't looked at just yet. Jayce, 28 CS to Malphite's 53. That's a level 5 Shabs, and Malphite is very, very close to hitting level 8, well, halfway through. But, you know, it's a big difference, 2-level difference between those lanes, 20 CS. Malphite's going to be offering way more in terms of fights, especially when comboed with the rest of the other champions. You know, Jayce has got poke. Jayce has the ability to execute and it can apply damage, but if he's got no items, got no farm, got no gold, he's going to have no presence in these engagements.
No, and at this point, Malphite's got to teleport back up again, so he can start roaming around a little bit. And now that he's 6, he can use that ult to get in fights. As we do see Sebastian get immediately explosive cast back towards Citizen Wayne's turret. Takes one shot, Shimpos to a creep there and gets out safely. Still quite a bit of damage. The snare goes down to Shabs in the bottom lane. Still not so much though. Jayce, of course, still in support. Doesn't have much AP. It's just a little bit annoying on Shabs. It means he has to try and fight for the CS under turret.
Not doing a bad job of it. Not doing a bad job of it.
Not too bad.
Switching to hammer form, using to the skies that static field as well, and just trying to put as much damage down to the creeps without losing as many as possible. 3 points into his shock blast, 2 into the acceleration gate. So starting to max out his Q and then putting an additional point into his E, getting that additional movement speed that you do get from the acceleration gate. So a little bit of a slow change of pace right now as we see the 7C6 Sjömän. They have put themselves in a position where they can shove most of the lanes. Katarina has gone up to defend the top lane. The second tower of the match is going to fall with very little contestation from Team Acer. And at the moment, it's all about the Swedes. They're in the driving seat, they're setting the pace, they're making the plays, and importantly, they're making them work. This is what we said they tried to do against CLG. They tried to create situations where they could get kills and where they could take down towers, but CLG just reacted perfectly. You know, textbook perfectly plays. And unfortunately, Team Acer, they just don't have the answer right now.
Yeah, we do have 3 members of the C6 Sjömän shoving up this mid lane now, trying to get onto this third remaining turret. It is obviously Malphite, Cottonex, and Zyra mixed in amongst all this. They're going to try and do this. Amazing is doing his best to try and clear the creep wave, but with a siege creep there, he is forced to go in and consume it. We've seen a barrel come out from Citizen onto one of them. The Ragnarok doesn't quite come down in time for Cottonex. He does get pushed into the turret, but does manage to run back out again without taking too much damage from either the turret or Citizen Wayne. Now they're bringing in Kestrel in to take the picture. He has taken down top and bottom turrets so far, so he is the man for the job if they want to take down mid. Of course, AD carry having that extra damage onto the turrets with his base. Citizen running a little bit low on mana, can't quite clear these creeps in one go. They're actually going to put the Stranglethorns down, force the knock-up, does get him to flash and body slam away though. Zyra taking a couple of turret shots, has to leave, but the turret will ultimately fall down. Kestrel does pick it up and does take them to 3-1 in the turret game.
In the top lane, Sebastian is trying to find Lumi. He's trying to chase. Let's see what happens in this middle lane. Is the Zenith Blade going to be cast? No. He decides not to pick up that engagement. And the Sjömän, they were running back. They were trying to put some distance between Team Acer and themselves. And they just didn't feel confident enough to commit. They didn't feel confident enough to use those abilities. Sebastian throws out the Bouncing Blades. Doesn't manage to steal the creep away. Shabs is going to pick it up just with that Mercury Hammer form. Pick up a couple more DPS. Only the single Doran's Blade in his back pocket. In comparison, his lane counterpart has a Giant's Belt and the Ninja Tabi. So a good chunk of HP and armor. And against the likes of Ezreal and Jayce, who rely on their auto attacks for a lot of their damage, it makes a lot of sense to pick up that sort of itemization. Gold-wise, 2,500 for Jayce, 3,500 for Malphite. It is a fairly big difference. Mid lane, Gragas 3,000, Katarina 4,400. That Dragon and 2 additional towers really showing just how far ahead it can push your team and your players.
Yeah, Sebastian and Cottonix now down here in this bottom lane, hiding in this bush, waiting for Jayce to make his way down past them. Don't know if they're going to get vision out from there. We'll have a quick check. They aren't going to see him until he hits the creep wave. Now they know he's there. They're going to come around behind him. This is just the two of them. They don't have Malphite here as he had no mana. He had to back off, but they're going to keep the chase on down into the bottom bush. There's the Shimpo coming out from Sebastian, getting in nice and close, but he's going to get knocked back straight away. Flash away from Shabs as the axe comes down from Cottonix. Follow-up flash from Cottonix. Can he land the next axe? Misses that one. He's going to pick it up. There's the acceleration gate. Malphite is now coming down the lane. He's going to catch onto this. This axe does land. There's the Shimpo, and Shabs will drop the ultimate from Katarina.
A very nice kill. Jayce playing very aggressive with Zyra, going toe-to-toe with Citizen Wayne, not afraid of the burst that Gragas can put down. He's got the Sorcerer Shoes, KG's lucky pick, and the double Dorans. But you got to question, why burn the flash? If you're Jayce in that situation as Shabs, okay, fair enough. You bait out the players, you make them take longer, you pull them away from their objectives, but it's a wasted flash. You are going to die. You know, it's definitely going to go down. Lumi and Kestrel now fighting toe-to-toe. Nunu's just rejoined the battle. Ice Blast goes down. With Sebastian joining. Take a look at the damage there from the Sinister Steel. He's going to carry on chasing. Gragas Explosive Cast is going to knock everybody around. But finally, with all the movement abilities, they've jumped in the background. Gragas is going to die. True Shot Barrage comes on. Amazing is force very low from Jayce as he's using Unstoppable Force. Going to carry on chasing. Seismic Shard's going to slow him down. As soon as that Ice Blast slow comes off, a secondary one comes up. Flash, Ground Slam, one more auto attack. Amazing has so little health. It is amazing that he's still alive. Yes, I just went there. It was that lame. He continues chasing. Blood Boil is on. You cannot chase a Nunu with Blood Boil. You will never catch up. With blue buff cooldown reduction, he's going to try to get away. Sebastian, is he going to risk the tower? Flash, Shunpo, Sinister Steel, picks up the kill. 2 tower hits, gets the blue buff. Shunpo's to safety. Sebastian, what a man, finishing what Malphite could not do.
Malphite actually missed his ultimate right at the start of the fight. He used it across the mid lane, trying to catch Amazing out. Missed it completely, landed the slow afterwards instead, and had to chase on normally. But the kill went through anyway. Sebastian, as you said, picked that up. Kestrel did fall down to Ezreal in the mid lane while that was all going on. So there is a kill onto Ezreal now. That is the second of the game for Acer. But they are still down by 6,000 gold. And in the grand scheme of things, Ezreal 4,200 to 4,400 of Corki. He's still slightly behind, but as long as he can keep nice and close, they do stand a slight chance of coming back in this late game. Ezreal, obviously the AD carry, that's what you're going to rely on as the game continues. But when you've got someone like Malphite against you, who can Unstoppable Force straight on top of him, he is the anti-AD carry. He's got the attack speed debuff, he's got the movement speed slow. It's going to be very tough for Ezreal to really make a true impact. The dragon has respawned though. We do have the entirety of the C6 Xin'Zhao down here in the bottom half of the map now, ready and waiting to make some kind of impact onto this dragon. Jayce will start it with his plants, popping that out with Sushi's Shampoo over the wall from Sebastian as soon as someone gets into range. There he goes. And, well, there's nothing that Acer can really do about it. They've got pings on it, they've got ward on it, they know it's happening. They are slowly closing in. Might see a Gragas barrel over the wall perhaps, but Ime dodging a nice snare. Reckless swing comes out from Cottonix. There's the Ragnarok. They're going to keep chasing it to Ime. Nice barrel from Citizen Wayne. Will push Jayce away. There's the teleport in from Jay. Wow, he's coming in behind them. He's going to wait for that ultimate. Will it land on Amazing? He's going to keep chasing it this way. We do have Ezreal being chased off into the top side towards that blue buff. And we just split up the Acer squad. They're not quite ready to group up in Gate 1 fight. Cottonix is going to chase Citizen further towards that bottom lane. And it does look like this tier 2 turret in the mid lane is going to fall to the C6 Xin'Zhao without too much of a response from Acer.
Down in the bottom lane, Cottonix has forced Gragas out of the fight. Citizen Wayne cannot contribute. They pick up another tower. That's 4-1. Shunpo comes in from Sebastian. Deathloach is being channeled. Absolute Zero is going to get a long time, but there's no ability power at all. And Sebastian was able to pick up a Negatron Cloak. Jayce throws out the Unstoppable Force and misses it for the second time in a row. 2 consecutive ultimates that have not found their targets, and both times on Amazing, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So both times missing the same elusive Nunu. Now we're going to take a look. If you take a look at the items, it was something we were about to mention before that big engagement happened. But Katarina, off the back of that previous engagement, picked up a needlessly large rod and a Negatron cloak. Had that Negatron cloak not been there, there may have been a good chunk of damage more from that absolute zero. It had a decent channel time. And if he was forced low, maybe they would have carried on chasing. We see Blood Boil coming up from Nunu. Acceleration Gate is up, and look how quickly they run. They're trying to set up some kills here. Dragon is available. So at the very least, they should be able to pick up this Drake and start to close this massive 8,000 gold gap that is between themselves and the Swedish Seamen.
Here's the problem, though. C6 Seamen have Katarina. They have that snowball-heavy AP mid. That's why you ban Katarina. It's not because she's particularly strong in lane. It's not because she can really turn a fight on her own. It's if you have one bad fight, as Acer have had a couple, she's going to go around, she's going to clean up. She's going to pick up 2, 3, 4 kills. She's then going to snowball hard. And then in the next fight, she's just going to do so much damage before you can stop any of it that it doesn't matter how else you play it. The rest of her team is going to be strong enough to clean up the damage afterwards, and then they're all going to get strong. And then as a whole team, you're just not going to be able to touch them. She's got those 5 kills. She's got that snowball running. Now Cosnex has picked up 3. It's just a matter of time before they start to unload one big fight where Acer aren't split and they can't spread out. It all comes down to one big AoE. It all goes onto one target. It's got Zyra on top of it as well, and then Kestrel can clean up.
Citizen Wayne just gets past that grasping roots, uses the body slam to get through the trees and manages to put some distance between him. And now all of a sudden Sebastian, very, very brave, alone in that middle lane. Even though you are a Katarina that has been fed, has the ability to clean house and kill practically everything, you can't commit to a fight 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4. Not that strong. This is probably going to be the next big fight. The Seamen, they want to pick up a battle here. They want to pick a fight over the secondary tower in the top lane. They place a ward down, get a little bit of vision, immediately know what's happening. Acer starts to get hesitant. They wonder, where is everybody? They don't have vision just yet. They haven't seen the champion. Citizen Wayne gets very, very sneaky, comes through. Take a look at the Stranglethorns. Who's it going to knock up? Unstoppable Force catches amazing this time. Gragas is removed from the fight. This is 2 kills on the board for the Seamen. They're going to turn their attention. Leona, Gragas, and Nunu are all down. Leumi continues chasing. Jayce is tanking. Flash, Shunpo, auto attacks, blatantly destroying his health. Leumi through the exhaust finally goes down. That's 4. Is this going to be the ace? Sebastian wants it. He's chasing Sinister Teal. He's going to get the movement speed buff and immediately back off Shunpo to safety, and they're probably going to pick up this inhibitor. As soon as the inhibitor goes down, you've got to assume that they're going to push for Baron. They have a decent amount of time, and they've got a good chunk of HP. You think that's going to be the call, Panky?
I think they're going to get the inhib, they're going to base, they're going to shop, they're going to heal, then they're going to go force the Baron fight. But honestly, I think that might just be game right there. They are too strong, too far ahead right now, and they are going to in fact get initiated on. Amazing is going to get that ultimate challenge in. Shabs will drop down to Sebastian. He's still in the backside of the fight cleaning up. Citizen Wayne's got the ignite tick, and we'll see if he falls down on the far side. Does look like he survived it. Katarina will drop down to Iamite. Citizen starts drinking and gets that 1% of his health back. He's going to survive it. Amazing forced to flash away after the ignite is ticked onto him, so Kestrel cannot land that last rocket. But the C6 Seamen do back away. They did only lose Sebastian. They did trade it for Shabs. They did take the inhib turret, though. We do see Lumi coming over the wall. There's still 4 Seamen hiding in this bush. They're just waiting. Lumi's putting the poke down, landing those mystic shots. Does take an axe to the face, though, and that's going to slow him on his way out. It does look like the Seamen have successfully disengaged and removed themselves from the enemy jungle.
You got to feel that on the back of that entire situation, giving up the gold, even that bonus gold from the killing spree for losing Katarina, it's not a big problem at the end of the day. Jayce, he does decide to flash over the wall. He's going to continue being chased from members of Team Acer. They're going to see this blue buff most likely, but they want blood. Lumi's going to come over the wall. Let's see, Arcane Shift. Is he going to go aggressive? Does. The Arcane Shift catches a creep instead of the champion. That's not going to play into their favor. Cotnex decides to go deep. He sacrifices himself to try and save the rest of the team. Solar Flare comes down, but Sebastian is back and alive. Cooldown's available. 1, 2, 3. Triple kill, Katarina. And that is what we like to see. Jumping in and amongst everybody and simply melting their HP bars. And that is why Abyssal Scepter completed, along with the needlessly large rod and all of that magic penetration from the Haunting Guys and the Sorcerer's Shoes.
If it wasn't enough before then, if she wasn't a big enough problem until that point, now she really is. 10, 2, and 4. Codnex, yeah, okay, he suicided himself, but he kept him in lane for a bit. He landed a slow on 2 of them. He held them there for just a little bit longer, allowed her to come in, mop up, get the resets, get even more, and now the team is on a 9,000 gold lead. It's going to keep stretching soon. They are going to pick up that Baron very shortly, I suppose, once they've finally healed and got Cosnex back out of base. Shabs is pushing the top lane. Does have Zyra coming out on to. Shouldn't be able to die to that on his own, but Kestrel is in support. Jerry needs to be careful not to lose his Oracle. Shabs is now running off up towards the C6 Seaman's base. Not the safest route in the world, especially as Katarina is coming down to meet him. Acceleration gate past one turret. Kestrel's there. Katarina's there. Sebastian picks up his 11th kill of the game with ease.
Zhonya's Hourglass competed on the back of that triple kill that she picked up in the bottom lane. It was enough gold to turn that needlessly large rod into the Hourglass. 11-4. The cooldowns on Katarina, they do have a couple of seconds between them, assuming you're not killing everything and simply resetting them. And that Hourglass is just going to buy her all the time she needs to get the Shunpo back, get the Sinister Steel, get those bouncing blades, get kills, and then reset them and do it all over again, time and time again. 18-4. Out of those 18 kills, 15 of them Katarina has been involved in. It is an immense number. And when you consider of those 15, 11 of them have been pocketed to her, it's understandable why this game is going so badly for them. Liumi, 1 Sinister Steel and Shunpo drops his HP by 50%. Explosive Cast gets used by Citizen Wayne just to clear out the wave. And Sebastian just picks up a little bit more farm. They've managed to pull the creep line back. And this is going to be another tower going in favor of the 7 C6 Seaman.
Now, was a Death Cap complete there just on Citizen Wayne, so he's going to have that now for this next fight. We'll see if his burst damage can really catch the important targets and help out this Acer squad. They do get a good wave clear there with the barrel, and then the Ezreal taking them very, very low. Gothnex, however, doesn't seem to realize how low his team is and wants to go in on his own. Forced to use his Ragnarok for nothing on that point. There's a barrel now waiting between. Lots more poke going down onto the CC team, and they need to get away from this. They can lose this fight. Jerry's going to get popped down very, very low. Amazing gets that kill. He goes into his passive form. Can he hit anyone with that true damage? Does grab Iron Might. The rest of his team are going to get the passive regen from Baron. There's the ult comes out from Jayce, lands it onto 2 members who immediately fall to Sebastian and to Jayce himself. We do now see the C6 team are pushing in onto the Nexus turrets. They're going to switch onto 1. Citizen gets a little bit of heal on the Phantom, but then dashes back off. Sebastian is there waiting for the double kill to pick up the ace. Finishes off Acer. There goes the 2 Nexus turrets down. C6 Seaman will go through to play Fnatic in our semi-final, taking 2nd place in this group after coming out of the BYOC tournament. And Acer, there was no point in that game. It looked like they could take it.